Twilight Drive is a physics-based racing game that sees you up against the clock. Across 40 different obstacle courses, you need to get from one end to the other within certain time limits to earn either a bronze, silver or gold medal. Earning these medals then unlocks future tracks for you to then compete up against that offer different and new obstacles and a higher difficulty as you continue through the game. Your car, though, does not handle very well at all, and so the main trick with Twilight Drive is that on the inside of most of the corners sit pylons that you can hook onto, and basically you slingshot your car round. It's a really neat initiative actually, because as you kind of cling on to the slingshot, usually your speed improves. There's different colours depending on how much your speed will improve, but it'll also chuck you gradually towards the outside of a corner as well. So there's a real knack to it because it wants you to kind of approach pylons at a certain angle to hook onto them earlier. And so you kind of zoom into it and then pull out and then hook, so that you've kind of exposed the side of the car that you're hooking with, to then fling yourself around all of the corners and then let go at the last possible moment so that you can carry that momentum down the track. You can brake, and you will need to, because quite often a lot of the tracks are basically making you speed up with all of these pylons to the point where you can't cope with it and you just smash off into a barrier, and then it's back to the start and off and away you go again. There are other key things as well. So you've got like jumps that you need to be able to hit a certain speed in order to clear. You've got boost pads, you've got wind sections as well. You've got barriers and like electric things. And then there's one where there's a Japanese bullet train going around that you need to beat, otherwise it blocks your path, that kind of thing. Over the course of these 40 tracks, you kind of get more of these different obstacles lined up together, back to back, and having to kind of slalom your way through things. And that's all well and good because it provides a good challenge. However, there is one key thing with Twilight Drive that absolutely infuriated me and made the game really unenjoyable, and that is the car's actual handling itself. The game has made the car purposefully undrivable so that you only have minimalistic steering angles to actually like move your car around a little bit on track. If you're using a keyboard, then you have to kind of multiply tap the arrow buttons to kind of shift your car around a little bit and hope for the best. If you're using a controller, you have to constantly kind of edge with the analog stick, like left, right, to try and get it to kind of shuffle along, and it feels unintuitive and really unsatisfying to play like that. And the reason why it does this is because when you get into a drift, and that normally happens when you're trying to take a corner too fast, it asks you basically to hit these gold medals and silver medals, which you need to do from about level 25 onwards to unlock these other tracks beyond that. You get into a drift and it's uncontrollable, and so you're going left, right, left, right, and you just kind of look like a granny having a seizure on one of her mobility scooters as you kind of just go around a bit weird. And that's more exacerbated by the fact that your car pootles along so slowly for quite a lot of the game, and then it speeds up rampantly just when it's approaching a hairpin on purpose, and it's poor track design mixing in with this really unsatisfying handling experience just means that every time you approach anything with a slalom that you're supposed to try and navigate around, it will take 6 or 7 times before you kind of end up in the bin, and then you get through. But when you do get through, you think, well, I've done literally nothing different, but this time it just decided to not veer off into a barrier for some reason. I'm not sure if it's just a sensitivity issue, specifically with controllers, but I tried it with a keyboard and it was equally frustrating. And it just feels like a bizarre missed opportunity. The other thing that really frustrated me with the game is that the top-down perspective, which tries to give you views of all these pylons, then doesn't give you any kind of help with camber or height change, because quite a lot of these tracks take place on massive mountains, and you can kind of make out some of the elevation changes that's going on throughout a level, but it's really hit and miss, and it doesn't seem like it does the same thing in different levels, if that makes sense. So sometimes a really big hill will make a big difference in one level, and in another one you'll just pootle along quite fine. It also seems as well that the AI, particularly when it's looking at when you're watching the AI ghosts of the different medals that you're trying to conquer, they seem to blast through some things, then they seem to spin around and continue on quite happily with others, and you just don't have that control. All in all, for me, Twilight Drive ended up being a really frustrating mess that after an hour of playing I just did not want to go back to again, because it just left my blood boiling. This wasn't a case for me getting good, it was a case of me not feeling the physics, not understanding what was going right or wrong, being bored at the fact that it was going along at a crawl, yet I was still going to veer off into a barrier from uncontrollable physics and handling styles. The lack of visual feedback as to what was going on as I go up and down hills and so on and so forth, so that I could understand what I needed to do or where I needed to boost something somewhere or try and straight line something. Everything feels like good ideas poorly executed, and so I've really had a poor time with Twilight Drive. Where I do think some other people might find more enjoyment out of it from me is if you enjoy these kind of up against the clock time trial obstacle course challenges, where you don't mind physics that are a real handful to mess with. Some of those games do it, and they do it in a comedy setting, and you can kind of get away with it. Because this is trying to be like low budget serious, I just wanted to rage and quit, and I did. And I only got to about level 27, and I'd had enough. And I couldn't be bothered with the last 10, so God knows what the difficulty like is there, but I'd had enough by the time I'd got that far, and I have no intentions of going back to this game ever again. I think the idea is sound, I just think the execution and the way how it handles, it's like trying to manoeuvre me after I've had an all-you-can-eat buffet and said that I'm aerodynamic. It just ain't going to happen. A written review to explain some more about these physics woes will be over on highplayinggames.com. Till then, you guys take care, and hopefully grab a more fluid and reactive and responsive driving experience elsewhere. Bye. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.